So today we're going to look at the song Dry Land by the band Marillion. Now this guitar solo is a perfect example of not overplaying. What Steve Rothery plays is absolutely perfect for the song. Strong phrasing, incredible tone, very well thought out, and it develops very well. There's too many guitar solos where the guitarist, it's their springboard to just play as fast as they can and show off their technical ability. This guitar solo serves the song, and he does a wonderful job doing that. So with that being said, let's run through the song. The chord progression to this solo is quite straightforward. It's 4 bars long. It consists of 1 bar of D minor, 1 bar of B flat major, and then 2 bars of a C major chord. Now this is actually played 4 times, but the 4th time we have a 4th ending. So the 4th time round you play the D minor chord, B flat major, and instead of going to a C chord, that you go back to the D minor for 2 bars, and then C for 2 bars, and then interestingly it goes to a D major chord instead of a D minor. And this gives that uplifting sound on that very last note of the solo. So phrase 1, like a lot of the phrases in this solo, is based around the D minor pentatonic or the Aeolian mode. You will see that mostly he's using the minor pentatonic, but just hints at a note or two that aren't in the minor pentatonic but are in the D Aeolian mode. So here's our first phrase. Great, solid, strong phrase to start the solo with. You can see by looking at the diagram, it's in that D minor pentatonic. The only shape that the only note that makes it the Aeolian mode is this fret 11 B flat. There, and he does a quick pull off. So it's only this one note that really hints at an Aeolian mode. Otherwise, you can just think of D minor pentatonic. Now, our next phrase, same area, same shape, same scale, sounds like this. Now, that last note is really the first note of phrase 3. We'll get to that in a second. So, same idea, same position, playing fret 12, bending it up, going straight to the root. And then playing fret 13, which is note C, bending that and going back to the root. It's always nice when you can learn something from someone else's guitar solo. Something like that is not something that I would naturally tend to play, but I will from now on because it sounds great. Now the next part we have. Now here we've got fret 13, which is F, going to E, fret 12. That's the note that makes it Aeolian mode. Other than that, everything else is from the D minor pentatonic. Okay, and I really like the way he plays the F, plays the E, and completely misses the root D and just goes to the C. Just gives it a slightly kind of less obvious sound. And then he replays the C, quick pull off to the A, G, and then C and A again. Now that brings us to phrase 3. Again, the note that I just finished on is the first note of the next phrase, and this is really just a variation of the phrase that he started the solo with. Slight variations, he would slide to the sharp 5, which gives us the Aeolian mode, and he ends it differently. Let me play it for you. I'd restart on that last note. If I put those two phrases together, just so you can hear how they link together. Now, for phrase 4, he changes position on the guitar. He goes into like the fret 5 area. Now, this can be thought of again as either shape 4 of the minor pentatonic scale or the Phrygian mode or the Phrygian shape. Once again, I've got a diagram there. Black notes are the notes of the scale that aren't being used. The red notes are the ones that are being used. Sounds like this. Now, it's kind of nice. He almost uses this motif throughout the song. You know, at the first phrase we had this, and then the third phrase we had, you know, we had a lot of this. And he uses it down here too on fret 5 and 6. It kind of has this nice little link, kind of, you know, bridging the phrases together. So this phrase again. Starts on A, goes to the root D, and then he just plays the F, bend the G to an A, fret 5, fret 8. Now really that's just pentatonic, but once again he plays a note that isn't part of the pentatonic. He plays fret 5, E, which is our interval of a ninth, which he used in phrase 2 up on fret 12. So that note isn't part of the minor pentatonic. Goes to the F, and then a quick hammer on and pull off, like he did in other phrases, and then we just end on C to D, D being the root. Next phrase. Now here, again, a solid phrase. We're still in that same area. We finished on C and D, but we're going to come up a string to string 4, and we're going to do some hammer-ons. So we're going to hammer G to A, fret 5 and 7, going to the root, and then we're going to go back to 5 and 7, and then root again, but an octave higher. So you get this. And then he finishes the phrase playing the F, the minor third of D minor, 3 times. So you get this. Phrase number 6. Still in that same area. Now really this, again, it's almost minor pentatonic all the way, apart from that fret 5, that E. Other than that, it's pentatonic. But I've written down the kind of Phrygian shape because he is using that extra note. So this is how the phrase sounds. And he does kind of slide out of that area, but as you can see in the diagram, I just wrote in that extra note. I didn't bother writing in the whole shape that's next to it because he only goes there for one note. Let me play it again for you. Phrase number 8. Now here you can think of the minor pentatonic. You can also think of it as the shape 5, the minor pentatonic. Again, I've written down the diagram there for you. He doesn't stick around too much in this area, and he's only on strings 1 and 2, mostly string 1. That's what he does for that phrase. That brings us into phrase number 8. And we have this. Okay, let me do that again. So as you can see, mostly minor pentatonic, but it's that fret 12 that's given us that Aeolian mode, but he's bending it, which I love to do, bend it half a tone or a semitone. So really you're bending it E to F, and I love doing those semitone bends, they sound great. Phrase 9. Now, phrase 9, we start with a bend, and he plays this kind of quite unique phrase from this this scale. We have, again, a bit angular. He's not just, not just coming down the scale. He's doing this kind of... Let me play that again for you. I'll do that again. Okay, so again, he's kind of just at Aeolian mode. The note that's making it Aeolian is going from fret 10, which is the F, sliding down to the E. And how many times has he used that E, which is the interval of a ninth? You know, he played it in a previous shape, a previous phrase at fret 12, a string 1. He played it down at fret 5, string 2. And that E gives you the interval of a ninth. That kind of, well, very Gilmore-ish, very David Gilmore-ish, which sounds great. So let me play that again. I'm going to come in from the previous phrase so you can hear how it all links together. Now this brings us to our final phrase of this solo. Sounds like this. Okay, so with this phrase, it really is kind of minor pentatonic. There's nothing there to suggest any kind of mode. Very straightforward, starting on the C, going to the A and back to the C. And then when we go to the C again, we slide up, D, and then back. So we have this. And then he takes that idea and he just plays it on the next string. And then the next string, fret 13 to 15. And then the final chord of the solo, which is D major, not D minor, he plays the D, the root. And because of that kind of D minor tonality ending on D major, which is also known as a tierce to Picardy, then it really gives that uplifting, kind of euphoric kind of sound. Let's link all these phrases together so you can kind of hear them in the context of the song.